What's going on, Buffalo Bills fans? It's your boy JP Football Fanatics here with you once again to discuss with you about the 2023-24 NFL season for your Buffalo Bills. So, the Bills last year, the last 2 years at least, have always lost in the divisional round. 2 years ago, they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs before falling to the Cincinnati Bengals from a year ago. So, is this the time for the Buffalo Bills to either take a step forward, or do you think they go ahead and they make that next jump to finally be able to become like a Super Bowl contender? Like, what's going on with this team? Is this team for real? Are they finally going to get over that hump and for Josh Allen to finally go ahead and help this team get to the Super Bowl with limited amount of players that he has to work with? Let me know in the comments down below. Please be sure to drop a like on this video by just hitting that like button right there with a thumbs up. And if you could too, please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, JP Football Fanatics, where you get all of the best NFL content that is covered by someone like me, who is a football fanatic. So here we go. We're going to get right into it and jump right into talking about the Buffalo Bills for the 2023-24 season. Let's get started. So here's the schedule. A quick synopsis about how I feel about the Bills this year. So a couple of things. First, I feel like the Bills draft kind of was not the most exciting. They got maybe another weapon, like a tight end, a nice tight end that could fit into the scheme good. They didn't really revamp too much on defense, if that really makes any sense. They got a couple of players, but nothing really like drastic or game changing for the Bills this year. So I feel like they're going to still be good. Don't get me wrong. I still think they're going to be one of the favorites in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. I still think they're going to really pound it to a lot of teams that they play week in and week out. But there are some questions that I do have. And I think some people are talking like, is this the time now where the Bills are going to maybe take a step back? Are they time to regress? Is it their time to kind of do so because of how unsuccessful they've been in recent years in the postseason? Well, let's talk about the regular season first. So week one, they got to play Monday Night Football and they play Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. A game that's going to be very, very fun to watch. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers. How can you go wrong with that? It's a Monday Night Football game that is going to be on, I believe that is 9/11, if I'm not mistaken, on Monday Night Football. So it'll be a lot of things going on in this game and everything. I still think the Bills are probably going to win week one. I'm going to just kind of say that right now. I think they should still be able to win in week one because I feel the Jets are still going to kind of become more. I think Aaron Rodgers will kind of still try to get himself into a rhythm. He's going to be working with a lot of new teammates and new coaching staff. And there are a lot of questions around that too, which we'll talk more about when I get to the Jets record prediction. So there are some questions that I do have about the Jets. And this, especially in this early slate of the season, where Aaron Rodgers is still going to try to get himself acclimated to the scheme that they have prepared for him. So I think the Bills should be able to win in week one, but don't be surprised if the Jets came in and won at home. Then week two, you play the Las Vegas Raiders. You should also beat the Raiders. I think the Raiders offense is really, really, really good. I think it should be one of the top offenses in the league this year, in my opinion. But that defense is, reworked. They ramped up on a couple of key players. So I think if the Raiders are going to win against someone like the Bills, they're going to have to really play some man coverage and find a way to double cover Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. And, they're going to have to work on a lot of different things if they want to go in and win. So I think the Bills should win in week two. But again, the Raiders could come out on top and win and beat the Bills. So that could go either way. And then week three, you play the Commanders in Washington, D.C. I believe the Bills should be able to win that one. That's not really much of a competition, especially if we don't really know who the quarterback is going to be for the Commanders in this early part of the season. Week four, you play the Miami Dolphins. I think you're going to split with the Dolphins again this year. We'll say that you could probably win in week four, and then you probably will drop to them at some point in week 18 and last week of the season. or vice versa. They could probably beat you. Let's say if they beat you in Buffalo and then you beat them in Miami, because at that point in time in Week 18, Miami will be cooled off. It's not like playing them early in the season in Miami. So we'll kind of go with it that way. But I do believe you're going to split with the Dolphins this year, just like you did last year. Then Week 5, you get to play the Jacksonville Jags in Buffalo. Another really intriguing game, too. I like to see what Trevor Lawrence can do in year 3 and Doug Peterson, what he can do in his head coaching job here in year 2 with Jacksonville. I would not be very shocked if the Jaguars found a way to beat the Bills at home or in Buffalo, in my honest opinion. I think that is very well possible that it could happen. But I'm still going to kind of maybe go with, I'm going to kind of leave that one blank for now because I think that's a really hard game to kind of figure out there. Week 6, you play the New York Giants. I believe that this is a game that could go either way, like I talked about with the Giants and the Patriots. I think the Bills should still find a way to win. I think they'll still win in Buffalo. But don't be surprised if the Giants came up and sneak up on the Bills and they beat them on the road, because I feel the Bills are, again, they're probably going to regress in some ways, defensively especially, and maybe that's where the Giants can probably try and take advantage of some of their weaknesses on defense. So, but I'm going to go with the Bills because Josh Allen is a million miles better than someone like Daniel Jones and everything like that. But I think the coaching staff is about the same, and it will be a Brian Dable revenge game, but I just don't think he's going to get it. Week 7, you play the New England Patriots. Like I said in my Patriots prediction, I think if there's any team that the Bills could sweep this year, I think it's going to be the Patriots, just because the matchups are very, very mixed match, and Josh Allen has had a lot of success in recent years with the Patriots. So I'm going to say they're still going to go ahead and sweep New England. Then in Week 8, you play the Tampa Bay Bucks in Buffalo on Thursday Night Football. You should be able to win that game. The Bucks are in a rebuild mode after losing Tom Brady, so I think you should be able to win that one. Week 9, you play the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, another game that is very, very intriguing. But it's also going to be extremely hard too. To go in there in Cincinnati and win. This is going to be kind of an emotional game because this is the game where Damar Hamlin suffered his cardiac arrest on the field in the first quarter, and they had to suspend the game and then eventually cancel it. So this is going to be a very emotional game for both teams, in my honest opinion. But I think just like with last year, I think the Bengals, like they did in the postseason, and even what they did before, in that regular season game, they kind of took control of the Bills. I think they're going to go in there and they're going to win at home against the Bills. I think the Bengals are better, in my honest opinion. I think they're more technically sound. They're more equipped to throwing the ball and running the ball if they need to. So I'm going to go with that. And then you go to Week 10, you play the Denver Broncos. Another interesting game. I could see the Broncos coming in and beating the Bills on Monday Night Football, but I could also see the Buffalo Bills absolutely destroying the Broncos too, just depending on how Russell Wilson starts out the season, how Sean Payton is, as a coach and everything. So another game that's going to be really tough to play, but I think Buffalo on paper should be able to win that one. Week 11, you play the Jets. I think you split with the Jets this year. I think, at that point in the season, this later part in Week 11, this is where Aaron Rodgers should be able to get himself better and be able to be, more equipped to the offense that he's given. Week 12, you play the Philadelphia Eagles. A very, very interesting matchup, a very hard matchup in that case that can definitely go either way. I mean, Jalen Hurts and that passing game that they have is incredible. The running game is about the same with DeAndre Swift, maybe just a hair or two better. The defense is strong, maybe not as good as they used to be, but maybe Jalen Carter as their rookie may be able to kind of save them a little bit from after losing Gardner Johnson. But I don't know. I think the Eagles are about the same as what they were last year. They might slightly regress this year. But I'm going to take the Bills. I think the Bills could find a way to do it. I think Josh Allen can take advantage of the secondary that I kind of feel for the Eagles is a little bit overrated. I think they're kind of taking a step back, but expect this to be a high-flying offensive shootout. Week 13, you got the bye, and then you got to come off the bye and you got to play the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that's going to be extremely hard to do if you're the Bills to come off of a bye week and you got to play Kansas City in Kansas City. I think the Chiefs are going to come back on top. I think the Chiefs are one of the favorites in the AFC. I think they're just going to keep getting better and better. With the dynasty they have, I think they'll go in. I think they'll beat the Bills this year, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's their time to win this time. Last couple times they kind of went back and forth, so I think this time this should be their turn. Week 15, you got to play the Cowboys, another tough game right here. So if you think about it here with the way that this is working right here, so for this later part, the last 9 weeks of the season, you got to play the Bengals, you got to play the Jets, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, and the Dolphins. That's a really hard stretch right there for the Bills, and they're going to have to really go all of these different teams here if they want to make it, win the division at least. And they should be able to win the division, but it's going to start right here. I think the Cowboys are still very good. I think that pass rush should be better. So it will be like the Diggs, the Diggs brothers, Stephon and Trayvon. So that'll be kind of interesting to see. So I think it could go either way. I'm going to kind of leave this one blank and I'll go back to it. Week 16, you play the Chargers on Saturday. I believe this is a Saturday night game. It's around Christmas weekend, I believe. So the Chargers, I'm kind of up and down on them this year. I'll talk more about them when I do my record prediction for them. I don't think the Bills are, I think the Bills should find a way to beat them, but I also do think the Chargers could come in and beat them, but I don't think it really matters that much because I think the Bills are, I think they have the much more rowdier fan base than the Chargers do, even when the Chargers are at home. So I think they'll beat the Chargers. So I'll kind of go back up and I'll talk about the Jacksonville game in week 5. I feel like they're due for some more losses this year than they did last year. So maybe they could go in there and maybe I'll say they can probably go in and beat Jacksonville, but then they lose to Dallas. I can definitely see that being the case. And then they finish out the season as being 12-4. I think there's the one game that is missing, I believe. Oh yeah, I didn't even fill that out. So maybe this year I can see them being at least 12-5, maybe 11-6. I don't think they really kind of drop that low. But I don't think they're necessarily going to be. I think they might take a step back in terms of, in terms of defense wise. But, I think their offense is still about the same as last year. The run game is still not really existent. So, I think they're going to be around the same as what they were last year. Maybe the defense will kind of regress in a sense in terms of depth. But I think this should still be enough for them to win the AFC East. So where do you guys think the Buffalo Bills land this year? Do you think they're going to be above 500? Do you think they're going to be below 500? Where do you think the Buffalo Bills are going to be? Let me know in the comments down below. And be sure to also like this video too, give it a thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button down below as well. Because anytime when you guys are giving me positive feedback on all different videos that I have posted for you guys, it really helps me out. Because then I'm trying to relay the message to you guys about football and be able to talk with you guys about it in the best way possible. So be sure to drop a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for any time that I am on the content and everything when I provide new content to everybody. And, this channel will continue to grow and grow each and every day. And with all that being said, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Let me know in the comments down below where you think the Bills will be next year. It's JP Football Fanatics, aka James saying, peace.